Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Real Trailer Life. I'm Wendy.
I'm Patrick.
Today, we are in Hinton, Alberta.
We are diving into some of the most jaw-dropping scenery that we have seen so far on our epic Alaska journey. So we're gonna start off with Yoho National Park.
So we went to the information center in the village of Fields, where we picked up our National Parks Pass for all of the Canadian national parks. And we talked to Barb, who gave us a wealth of information about all of the parks and hikes and places we could get great photos and see wildlife and waterfalls.
Yeah, well, she was so full of energy. I mean, you could tell that she really loved her job.
And so we were super excited to find out that the road going up to Takakkaw Falls was just recently opened. And that road is called
Yoho Valley Road.
Yoho Valley Road. And it's got these hairpin turns, and it even says if your vehicle's longer than 23 feet, you have to go up and then back up and then go up and forward and back and like crazy. And we did have to back up a little with our long bed truck, but so did the guy behind us.
Think of it as an S turn. And so you go into the first part of the S. If you're too long, then you just pull straight ahead, and then you have to back up the middle part of the S, and then you go forward on the top part of the S. And then you have to do the same thing on the way down, which is really kind of weird because I've never had a hairpin turn where I've had to do that, or a national park that would allow you to do that, which was crazy. One of the first places that we discovered was Emerald Lake. And Emerald Lake was so beautiful. Just the turquoise colored water.
We got there pretty early and it was super packed. And this is off season too, so I can't imagine what it'd be like in prime tourist season, but yeah, the lake was gorgeous. We got to walk around it, get some photos. There was an area where they had tagged off, do not enter, because the bears were there.
Yeah, there are grizzly bear sightings in that area, and they did not want you going up into that area at all. We even saw bear scat, which was kind of scary because you know that they're actually in that area.
Yeah, we didn't see any.
But
we had our bear spray if we did.
But we were able to take some amazing footage and some amazing photos, so what you can see what this park looks like. And then next we went to Natural Bridge.
Now, the water was roaring.
It was. Now, Natural Bridge is like this ancient rock formation that the Kicking Horse River runs through, and it's just carved its way through this rock. And it has just this amazing formation where the water just barrels through. And it was absolutely beautiful. And it was a very short stop, and not a very long walk to get up to the very top, but it was really kind of cool just to see that whole, almost like waterfall water feature thing that happens in Yoho National Park. And then the last thing was the most exciting, and we talked a little bit about this earlier, was taking the Yoho Valley Road up to Takakkaw Falls.
Try saying that twice.
Takakkaw Falls.
Yeah, it's not, there's a couple of other waterfall hikes you can take that are much further than that one, but this was the one Barb was super excited about at the visitor center because she said the water is just roaring down off of it, and it was gorgeous.
Yeah, and you can see why this was literally an amazing waterfalls at almost 1,300 feet. One of the highest waterfalls in all of North America.
All of Canada, I know for sure.
But Yoho blew us away. I mean, it was just an amazing park, and if you get into this area, we highly suggest that you stop at Yoho and you see everything that Yoho has to offer. There are so many hikes that we didn't get to go on just because of the time crunch, and we can't get to every place that we want to see, unfortunately.
But it is worth the trip.
Then the next day was Banff.
It was Banff. It was a place that I had been to as a 5-year-old little girl, and my sister sent me pictures of what Lake Louise looked like back then, and then a couple others from around Jasper and stuff. So we scheduled our tour with the Moraine Lake bus shuttle to Lake Louise.
And we were only there for about an hour.
We were there for an hour, and I was thinking that's never gonna be enough time. It was enough time, and it was beautiful, and we got tons of great shots. The lake is as epically beautiful as it's portrayed. The beautiful turquoise color.
It was just amazing, and the water was really calm, and the reflections coming off of the lake were just epic for not only video, but for photographic reasons. It was an amazing.
We walked a little bit along the shoreline. I mean, every few feet, the view is different. And so you just keep taking photo after photo, and it's incredible, and it's worth it. We then boarded back onto the shuttle because you cannot drive to Moraine Lake.
Yeah, you can't. We had to take a shuttle there, and I think it was a 12-kilometer drive from Lake Louise to Moraine Lake. And Moraine Lake was pretty amazing in itself.
Yeah, it's got that beautiful turquoise color from the rock flower, and then the silt and the glacier melt, and it just shimmers that turquoise. It's unforgettable. And what's the trivia? What do you call a pile of rocks at the end of a glacier?
An end moraine.
An end moraine. He won a sticker because he knew the answer.
Yeah, so our bus driver, Kirsten, she was really full of fun facts. And you could tell she was new on the job, but she did a really good job. And then there was JM, who is this seasoned driver, and he was a wealth of information, but he's the one that asked the questions about what's at the end of the glacier.
So we hiked up that. That was a good hike up, and lots to look at. The epic view over Moraine Lake that you see in all the photos. I'm pretty sure you got that one. It's the one with the tree in it. And
oh yeah, that was
it's stunning, stunning, stunning.
That was the picture of the whole time in Banff. I think that's one of my favorite photos that I've ever taken in my entire life.
So there is such beauty between those two lakes.
Yeah, there's two differences, but two beauties. And you know, JM said that he preferred the look of Moraine Lake over Lake Louise, and I guess I could see why.
I don't know, I'm stuck. I think they're both gorgeous.
So after hiking a couple hours at Moraine Lake, again, we were able to walk down to the opposite end and look back at where we came into Moraine Lake. We were able to get pictures of this roaring water coming into Moraine Lake, which was pretty cool. Then we ended up going back to the camper and just relaxing the rest of the day because it was a pretty good day.
It was fabulous.
And then the next day we woke up and we drove through Kootenay National Park, which to us, I'm sure it has a lot of...
It's a beautiful drive.
It is. We were able to see our first wildlife, which was some mountain goats.
Which was cool because there's a little teen tiny baby.
There was a little baby. And
she's so cute trying to get up the hill. But, you know, there are your tourists there too that are outside of their cars walking, 5-10 feet away. And I'm like, no, thank you.
Yeah, keep your distance. If you're gonna go see the wildlife, keep your distance. Don't risk your life just to get that photo that you think that you need to get.
Yeah, it's not worth it. There was the road was closed to stopping. Like you couldn't even stop and pull over to take a picture if you saw an animal because it was that time of year where they were just protecting all of the wildlife and didn't want people stopping along the road. So we drove quickly through there.
And then we headed to the town of Banff. And the town of Banff was fun. It's touristy. We parked like 7 blocks away and we walked in, which was fine. We didn't have to pay for parking. And we actually parked right by the Royal Canadian Mounted Police barracks, or whatever they call them up here, police department, I don't know. But then we walked down and we did the whole touristy shopping thing along all of the streets down there. And we ended up going into a restaurant and having a pint and having some lunch.
Yeah, it was Tommy's Neighborhood's bar. And the funny thing is we sat down and looked at the TV and they were the Minnesota Twins playing the Toronto Blue Jays at CHS Field in St. Paul. So that was kind of fun. I had to text Tom Lucy right away. Like, you gotta see this.
Coming up in our next video, we're gonna be going back down to the Icefields Parkway and the Columbia Icefields, capturing some of the amazing things that we can see there before we get ready to head off to our next location.
Which we've had to do some rerouting.
There's some really bad wildfires that are happening around Fort Nelson. 97 south of Fort Nelson and 97 west of Fort Nelson have basically been closed because of wildfires. And we feel that was important for us to reroute just to be able to stay away from that area so that the firefighters can get their equipment up there.
People that need to be there can get through.
And more importantly, they have evacuation routes in case the firefighters have to get out of there. Nobody wants to impede what's going on in their area. So we are rerouting and we're going to be taking the Stewart Cassier Highway up to Watson Lake, and then everything pretty much after Watson Lake was original, except when we come back down, we're going to be taking the Alaska Highway back down, assuming that it's going to be open when we come back that way.
So lots and lots coming. We're really happy that you have been able to join us along the way. I do want to mention somewhere you talked to a family, a dad and his 2 sons.
Yes, there's this dad and his 2 sons from Brazil that they're actually in a Cruise America, which they didn't really like, but they asked if we could give them some information about our trip to Alaska. And so I sat down with them for a good 20-25 minutes and we talked about Alaska and the route up there. We gave them the information on drivebc.ca, which is where you can see which roads are open. And then I also gave them information about the website that shows the active fires in Canada so that they could watch that as well. And we've been texting actually since they left. They left yesterday morning on their way up to or towards Fort Nelson. And I told them yesterday, you know what, we rerouted and we're gonna take the Stuart Cassier. And they actually responded this morning and said, we are actually rerouting as well. And they're on their way over to the Stuart Cassier to take that up to Alaska.
And hi to their mom and wife who watches us on YouTube.
Yeah, and so they're on this like 20-day tour and they're on their way up there. They're on such a time crunch to get up there and it's pretty amazing, but we hope that they have safe travels and that they enjoy Alaska and the trip up to Alaska as much as we are enjoying our trip up there as well.
And you know, it's just fun along the way. You run into people that are having the same destination as you, and that's one of the things I love about living in the RV, living the RV life. You just meet so many great people along your route.
Yeah, we've met a lot of great people and we're sure we're gonna meet a whole lot more people. So
stay tuned.
So if you enjoyed riding along today, hit the subscribe button and that bell so that you know that when our next video comes out, you'll get a notification. And don't forget to follow us on Instagram and Facebook and YouTube at Real Trailer Life. We're on all those social platforms. And until next time, safe travels, stay adventurous, and keep living that real trailer life. Bye-bye.
See ya.